All right, and we are live. Welcome to the new year, 2024. Here we are. 2023 was pretty good for us.
Well, it was different because we moved. New waters. We started over.
A whole bunch of different things.
We were successful.
We were, and we had a lot of good things that happened on Sabine and in the areas, the marshes. Just learning all different things. So it was a lot of fun getting to learn some new waters. Hopefully this year's going to be even better.
Well, you know what they say though, if you're really good at fishing, if you can take these same principles, apply them to new waters, and still catch fish.
And of course, being a new year, we had Christmas. I got a 3D printer.
Oh right.
Yeah, I got a 3D printer
we
right
have
over
a 3D
there.
printer.
Yeah.
We're excited about maybe using it to print fishing stuff.
Yeah, there's some, there's different tools and things that you can look at. So, good evening, Ben.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on the live stream. And by the way, on this live stream, on this live stream show, just to kind of let you know what's going on, we are going to try and do this every Thursday at 7. That's going to be my goal for the new year. Is every Thursday. Now, of course, there's going to be times where sick or something happens, but really going to try and set aside this time for you to live stream and to have this time. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. We're going to talk some news. I had been doing all kinds of new stuff on a different program. I'm not going to use their name here, but they completely ghosted us. And it wasn't just us we go fishing stinks.
No.
It wasn't a personal thing.
Thousands of creators.
And everybody's trying to figure it out. So it's very strange. Not sure what's going on there, but for now I'm pausing all of that. I'm going to focus completely here on YouTube and live streaming, talking fishing, talking things that are going on, talking news, just all kinds of stuff. So about half hour, 45 minutes worth of a live stream each week, Thursday at 7 o'clock. That's going to be our goal. Also, I would love some feedback from you guys. Traveling Fools, good to see you guys are with us. Thanks for joining us. YouTube has new monetization policies when it comes to live streams. And I don't really understand all of that, and I don't know how to impact your viewing experience. So let me know in the comments or send us an email or something.
You mean they're going to add ads?
Ads and stuff, and I don't know how. Right, and I don't know how that works. So if this, I'm going to watch it back later and see how it goes, obviously. But if something goes on in this, and you're just like, hey, I don't like that, just let us know that because we do want to make this the best possible experience for you. But in any case, so we're here in the new year and getting ready.
And by the way, we didn't buy the 3D printer. It was a gift.
Oh, it was. Yeah,
so we're just trying to use it. It's
Which
not
one?
like if you fish, you have to have a 3D printer. It's not like that.
Oh.
We're just trying to see how we can use it for fishing. But so far, I've printed lots of stuff for myself.
So far, we've discovered you can print all kinds of different stuff. So, so we're going to have lots of fun with that. And hopefully you've had a great start to the new year. There's just so much potential in the new year, and we all have plans and dreams and hopes, and so I hope that all those things come true for you in this new year, and that you reach those goals and dreams, and that the economy will pick back up, and everybody that's kind of just in that situation will be able to have a better situation there. You got a custom fishing rod for your...
Yeah, let's talk Christmas gifts.
Well, no, that's not what we're here for. We're not going to talk Christmas gifts. But,
well, look what he got at Christmas
I'm
gift.
sporting We Go Fishing swag.
He's too cheap to buy his own t-shirt, so I bought it for him, our own gear, because he didn't even have any.
Yeah.
And I bought it for him, and so now he's wearing it. You want to show him the back?
Oh, yeah, the back has the logo on it.
Has the logo.
And you can get it in the We Go Fishing store, so it's there, stickers and all that stuff. Anyway.
And I got a new fishing rod.
Yes, yeah.
Somebody local, he said, found and made for me, and it's better for casting. And I noticed the eyelets are a lot smaller, so that makes a difference. And I was able to cast, I would say, at least maybe 5 to 7 feet further than I would normally be able to.
Yeah, so if you've had any experience with custom fishing gear, you know how the options can get from the eyelets you use, the blanks you use, there's all kinds of different things. When you really get into fishing, that's something, it's kind of like having just a custom thing for you. And that's what we were able to do with this. So hopefully it'll be able
I really feel bad paying what you did for the custom fishing, or the work that goes into it. Yeah. What's really bugging me is the price of reels right now. It seemed like they doubled in price. The reel that went with it almost cost as much as the rod, and I felt like that was a little...
Yeah, so prices have gone up. Ben says 3D printed fish don't count. We can't be 3D printing our catches.
Well, I think you'd be able to tell because, 3D printing, it doesn't look... I mean, it's made of this weird plastic type material, not actual plastic, but it feels as hard as plastic. So It's definitely not.
But we were thinking, like I was thinking, you could do 3D printed miniatures of fish that you caught, and you could kind of hang them on the wall. You'd have to paint them and stuff.
Oh, well, then you'd have to create your own design, I guess. But it'd definitely be a small scale, because our printer would only print something that's smaller than like 10 by 10.
But bluegill size.
Yeah.
Bluegill size.
It has to be less than 10 by 10 inches.
Let's see. Traveling Fool says there are usually skippable ads around every 30 minutes if you're monetized and launched. Okay, so that's not so bad, and hopefully they will be skippable, so you can be like, I don't want to watch that. And then Ben says custom bait cast rod or spinner. Spinning rod, we are spinner rod people. I'd never gotten into bait casting, and so I never really, if she ever wants to get into bait casting, I don't know. I never did. Growing up, it was always spinning rods. People said you could control a bait caster better, but growing up doing it, I learned how to thumb the line myself, and it's just, I don't know. I just didn't ever get into to the bait casting. It is a 6'6" rod, 6'6", and it is going to be medium. It's going to be light action, medium in its power. So, custom inshore rod. It's meant specifically for inshore species that we target. So that's what it's made for. So
yeah, the biggest thing is it's much lighter weight.
Oh, it's very light.
And so that when I'm using lures, I can cast a million times and not get so tired.
Yeah. So, all right, you ready to get in our first story?
Oh, are we talking stories?
Yeah,
I thought we were going to show him the rod.
Well, no, we're going to do that. We'll do that
but
when
I
we
have it right over.
I know, but we'll do that on when we're doing the actual fishing stuff.
You always have an agenda.
I know, I have an agenda. So I don't know if you saw this. This was the first story that we're going to talk about in this first episode of the We Go Fishing Show. More than 100 people were stranded in Minnesota on ice that broke off.
I heard about that.
You heard about that one? I can't imagine.
Sounded so scary.
It sounds so cold, and I just cannot imagine.
Oh, and the pictures of the wind that was going on.
Yeah, just like crazy. So apparently this ice broke off. They had gone out ice week. Now, I understand the fishing itch. You know, it's been all season. You want to get out there and you want to.
But it might have been a little early in the season.
May have been a little early. They may have wanted to wait on that because what ends up happening is the ice wasn't, I guess, thick enough. Mm-hmm. And not being thick enough, it broke off. And the authorities said they went and they were about 30 feet off of the piece that had broken off. So about 30-foot gap.
So that's too much to swim without getting like hydrothermia really fast and really you'd have to wait. So they have to hook the ice and bring it closer?
Well, I was looking to see how they rescued, because that was one thing I was curious about. I was looking at the article and I was like, how did they rescue these people?
Yeah, that's
and
the question.
They weren't really specific about how they did it. They just said that nobody had fallen through the ice and that the sheriff's deputies there, I'm reading the article, but it says the first responders came, bystanders had to take some people off by canoe. So some people were being rescued by canoe. But
and I heard that there might have been choppers involved, but then the wind...
I didn't read anything about choppers.
That the wind, they tried, but the wind was like... If you saw the pictures of the day that they actually needed to be rescued, the day this tragedy happened, the wind was so bad, it reminded me of the movie Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. You remember that spot where the wind is like crazy thick in the movie? That's what it looked like. Like, it was crazy, like almost comical. It was so crazy. Like, that can't be for real. Yeah. Like, people blowing away. I'm like, okay, well, they're not getting any helicopters over there. So canoes
so just something,
or anything to get them
I'm getting a note here that the live stream cut off. Hopefully it's back. I don't see anything on my end of things. It's telling me it's cut off. So hopefully it is back. Somebody can let us know. I'm watching my iPad on the side over here to make sure it's still on. It looks like it's going, but hopefully it is. If not, catch the playback. So
did it cut off for everyone?
I'm not sure. I just got that note from Ben saying that it had cut off. But I'm not getting... He says no one mentioned... Yeah, we can't talk about that. This is a fishing channel, and we're not going to talk about the other things that are in the news.
Because live streams
have been cut off about certain subjects. So, Traveling Fool says, sounds like a nightmare. Yeah, I can't imagine. You're here, you're fishing. I don't think ice fishing sounds like...
And the ice cracks and you're floating away?
Yeah, I don't think that sounds like... Yeah.
See, I always thought ice fishing was you create... like a little type of housing around it to stay warm.
If you looked at the pictures here, and maybe I can put it up here on the screen. I don't know how maybe
and
you
not
can see
just
this.
random.
I mean, this is a picture of them, their little ice shanties and stuff.
Okay, so they do have structures.
This is from The Guardian. So they have structures out there.
So I wonder why 30 of them, because they don't look like they're all together. They're kind of separated.
I don't know. But it says they were brought back from the ice floe to the fishing shelter to warm up. It took about 2.5 hours, 122 people. But thankfully, no one was actually injured in all of this. So that's a miracle right there. So
maybe they huddled together.
Yeah, so glad to hear that. Okay, it sounds like Benson, Trout, and Fools both say that it's back. So all right, great. I'm sorry about that. I don't know what happened. There's been some wonky things happening with live streams. I was watching one last night, and it just cut off.
Well, he was talking about the subject we don't talk about.
Yeah, but anyway. All right, let's move on to our second story. And this one is more close to home. So this is more for Texas people. But once again, Texas Parks and Wildlife is talking about changing, guess what?
The trout regulations.
The trout regulations. Yes. We are talking trout regulations once again. I hate talking about this because like every time we talk about it, it's like they hear us. They're like, oh, we're going to change it again. And they just can't get it right. And they keep citing the fact of the winter freeze. They keep saying that it's because of this winter freeze. They're trying to balance it out. But that's back in 2021. We haven't had that cold.
It doesn't affect every area. So this area didn't really get the same freeze. On top of the fact that a lot of the fish will breed and stay in the lake and never leave. So that... regulation shouldn't affect those waters.
Yeah, so I don't really understand this. I don't understand what's doing it. One of the notes here in the article, it said that several guides attend the meeting, have a uniform consensus. The fishing isn't what it used to be. That's like every fisherman ever has said that.
Well,
right? The fishing just isn't the way it used to be. I'm back in my day.
In COVID, it brought out a lot more people and a lot more boats. And I don't know if it was the freeze as much as there was just a lot more people on the water.
Yeah, so let us know what you think. What do you think about these regulations? I mean, I understand the theory. The theory is you don't want people going out and over-harvesting. You don't want people going out and taking more than what they can actually use. I get that. I'm all for that. I believe in conservation. I've been part of the CCA organization for a while now. I promoted them. I understand it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, we keep doing this thing where we keep playing with these regulations. But the problem with me is that the regulations don't make sense.
It's not the number I'm upset about. It's the fact that the way that they're doing it. They're saying, okay, well, let's say everybody can only keep 2 fish. All right, change it to 2. But instead, they're saying, well, it has to be 17 inches.
Yeah. So that's what they're saying.
That's different.
These guides that are quoted in the article, and the articles are in the links below. So if you want to check my sources, you can. But it says, personally, I'm not seeing bigger upper slot trout that we're seeing before the freeze, anywhere from 17 to 23 inch, 24 inch range. He said he's been a guide for 27 years. He said he's seeing a lot of little trout, but not seeing the large trout in good numbers. And to me,
then limit the large trout.
Well, no, it makes perfect sense. Right. Why? Because you're harvesting the slot size. So you're going to get the ones above, you're going to get the ones below, but the ones in the middle, when your guides are going out every day and you're harvesting that slot, then you're not going to have as many of that slot. I mean, plus area growth. I think we've got to realize the Texas coast has become more populated.
Yes, I just read the article. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but of the moves of 2023, that almost all of them, like the majority of all of the moves, went to Texas.
Yeah.
U-Haul is reporting everybody coming to Texas. Well, guess what? Those people who are coming from California have money, and they're buying boats. And when they get boats, you see Lake Conroe's like double the amount of boats.
Yeah.
Then you've got Aransas Pass area. We saw about double the amount of boats. And so people have money coming from New York, California, and they're like, oh, look what we can buy.
Right. And so there's fishing pressure. And between the population increase in the state and the amount of guides on the water, and this is not to slam guides. Guides make a legitimate we use guides. I appreciate what they do. But you got to think, all of these factors combined is going to impact the fishing. I mean, it just has to. And so I think that's
even if they're not catching anything, it does affect the pressure.
No, yeah. So in any case, this is what they said. It says that Texas Parks and Wildlife says spotted trout are below the 10-year average based on the fish the agency has caught during surveys. It says that the effect could take more time. And so what they're doing is they're basically saying they're going to create a slot. Once again, they're going to be they're thinking about creating a slot. 3 trout per day, 17 to 23 inches. Is probably where they're going to end up. Maybe one over that will actually count towards the slot, but nothing over 24 inches.
I don't even like keeping one over that. I let it go if it's a big one.
Because, we've tended to release over 20.
Yeah,
that's
I mean,
us.
but I do like sometimes a 20, 21, I might keep one of those. But if it's over 23 inches, I'm taking my photos and I'm letting it go.
Hey, Maryland Outdoors, thanks for joining the live stream. Much appreciated. Good to see you, sir. And let's see, No Way says, I suck at winter fishing. G at the banks, at freshwater. I think it would be pleasure boats. Yeah, it could be. And either you fish or not. And Maryland Outdoors says boat traffic will also put pressure on the fishing. And that's what we noticed before we moved up here to the Sabine area, being down in the Corpus area, we did notice, even the time that we were there, the amount of increase in people on the water. The jetties are just packed. Yeah. Like there were times where we went to the Packery jetties often, and even the Port Aransas jetties, even Fish Pass, it was like just packed with people all the time. And I think that's got to impact things.
But
just
also
more
waiting
people
for
out
boat
there.
ramps got annoying.
Boat ramps.
And some of the guys, they started heading out to Bird Island. They'll travel 30 miles just to get, water where there's no pressure. Yeah. And Matagorda Bay, they're still catching just fine because nobody lives down there.
Is doing fine.
And nobody lives at Bird Island.
Yeah. So the what's happening is the population centers have grown, more boat traffic, more pressure. The fish move out. I just have to think that. Mm-hmm. And again, I can be wrong on this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I really do appreciate the work Texas Parks and Wildlife does. I do believe in conservation, but at the same time, give us regulations that make sense.
And I think around here, no one has increased it much because they haven't discovered this area. A lot of the new people that are moving in, it's not a highly populated area.
I know.
They haven't discovered. And the other thing
we're
is,
going to ruin Sabine fishing. That's what's going to happen.
When those hurricanes came through, it kind of cleaned it out.
Yeah, it did. Yeah.
So a lot of people moved to Houston, and it hasn't recovered yet. So as that settles and it gets to the 10-year mark, they say 10 years after a hurricane, people forget and they move back.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm anticipating. But we have like 3 more years until we get to 2028.
So it's just one of these things that. You just gotta put your logic into it. I really hope Texas Parks and Wildlife will land in something that makes sense. If you get really below 15, I know in Louisiana trout regulations are crazy, much more lenient. But if they said a good eating size fish, the other problem that you have with trout too.
I just read his comment.
I have to go.
Government regulations that make sense.
No kidding. I know. Maybe I'm asking too much there, right? I'm just asking.
They're just going to do what they're going to do.
I know.
And they're going to have this little forum and pretend like they're listening to you, and they're going to do what they're going to do.
Yeah. Maryland Outdoors, thanks for joining the live stream, and I do appreciate that. Hitting that like button, that does help us out. And thanks for joining us for the little bit of time that you could. I really do. I know that on the East Coast, it's going to be a little bit of a different thing there. So thanks for joining us. Just to finish up this topic before we get on to the next one, I do want a standard that makes sense of an eating size fish. The problem with trout, a lot of times when you hook them and you try and release them, they don't survive. And that's the other problem that you end up having. And a lot of these guys are using croaker, and they'll gut hook them. The fish is dead anyway. So it's just one of these things that they have to realize not everybody's fishing with lures. A lot of these guides aren't. A lot of people that are just your weekend warriors are going out with croaker, live shrimp, they're gut hooking and all that. So it just needs to make sense. That's really what it needs to be there. But anyway, love to hear your thoughts on it. Let us know what you think.
It probably won't.
Probably won't. Yeah, I have to agree with Traveling Outdoors. Government regulations, they generally just don't make sense. It's like they just pull something out of their hats. That's what they do.
Look at the border.
When we went, I think Traveling Fools is in Florida a lot of times. I think that's their base. we fished in Florida. Florida regulations make no sense.
Yeah,
They
have
had
a
some
lot.
weird stuff. I was like, wow.
And then they're like, oh, but you don't have to have a license if you're on a boat. They have weird stuff. You do if you're surf fishing, but then like from one beach to another, you don't know if they let you surf
I don't
fish.
even know if you
They say you can surf fish, and then we started hopping around, and you have people say, no, you can't do it here. No, you have to go over there.
Yeah,
no, you can't do it here. You have to go over there.
Ben says, different topic. Have you guys been to the museum in downtown Port Arthur? My wife and I really enjoyed. No.
Which museum?
Yeah, let us know what museum you're talking about there, Ben. I know there's some in this area. I know that there's a Stark Museum, but I'm not.
There's small little historical ones around the Triangle area.
Yeah, the Golden Triangle.
Port Neches, Port Arthur.
But,
there's some in Beaumont, but I don't know which one he's talking about.
But let us know which one you're talking about, because I would love to, because we love that sort of thing. We've got obviously 3 kids. You guys who watch the channel know that we've got 3 kids, so love to do that. No Way says, when you get 15K a day streaming over the border, more
the regulations
fishing.
Don't make any sense.
You know what? No Way. I almost pulled up an article, except for I just get tired of doing them. And that's why I didn't pull up this one about illegal launches again, catching snapper.
Those blue launches.
Yeah, it's just an ongoing issue.
Unfortunately, we share the Gulf of Mexico, and they don't have any regulation.
Yeah.
They don't care, so they'll come on our side.
Yeah. So but that's another problem that you have. We can only take so much snapper, and these guys come up and they take literally hundreds of pounds of snapper a day.
Yeah.
And what do you do?
We were when we lived in Laredo. We went to the big lake called Falcon Lake down there, and it's real big on bass and everything.
Yeah, white bass.
And we saw this guy putting up a net in one of those little channels that basically would just
gill net. It was called a gill net.
Yes, it would just catch basically hundreds or thousands of white bass, and then it just threw them up on the shore, and you just see them all. He can't possibly eat them all. But he just wasted all those white bass, and they were just everywhere. And I just was disgusted by it. But we couldn't do anything. And then the game wardens are nearby on that lake, but they also get shot at. So it's just difficult to share those waters.
Yeah, it is. It's a challenge. It's going to continue to be a challenge. Ben says, Museum of the Gulf Coast. No, we haven't been there. We'll have to check that out. I didn't even know that was a thing, so I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Maybe we'll look it up, take the kids, and see what it is. But that sounds interesting. I'm assuming it's going to be of the industry and the fishing, maybe industry.
Maybe
a lot of industry.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but we'll have to check that out. Thank you Ben. Thanks for letting us know that. Much appreciated, man.
Maybe it has hurricanes and stuff in there.
Yeah. There's been a few of those around.
Yep.
All right, final story for tonight. And this one is a local story again, but I thought it was cool enough to say, hey, look what they're doing. And we were just talking about the government regulations making sense and all the stupid things that they do. But I don't know if that'll get you knocked off of YouTube, but they do a lot of dumb things. But this one I thought was interesting. The San Jacinto River Authority was hosting a live tree donation drive. And when I saw that, I was just like, well, why? What do they want? What does the River Authority want to do with Christmas trees?
You mean the old ones?
Yeah, the ones you just throw out on the street when you're done with it.
Well, I'm sure they'd love to donate those.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody throws them out there anyway, so
Oh, they're using for fishing?
There you go.
Oh.
I was like, hey, that's actually a good story. So what they actually will do with these things is they'll collect all of them, and they'll take them into Lake Conroe, and they'll put they said they'll put like concrete blocks on them.
Yeah, to keep them down.
And they will sink them for artificial fish habitats.
You know who would love those?
Crappie.
Yes. Those crappie fish will love that.
I was like, man, we need to get in our boat. We need to follow this boat. If you locate a boat with a Christmas tree, just need to follow it around
it's a Christmas
mark
tree
that
boat.
spot.
Mark the
Christmas
spot.
tree boat. Yeah.
Drop it straight down.
But I was like, hey, that's a really good idea. There was the reason why I triggered in my mind is there's one time I asked a game warden about that, because this was when we were living down in the southern areas, and there was a local lake there, and I said, what if we just sunk artificial habitats there? Mark our spots, sink our trees, that sort of thing. He told me it would be considered littering. And he said that if he saw us do it, that he would ticket us. And I was like, wow, I don't know if that's really cool.
But I bet over time the branches and sunken trees kind of disintegrate a little bit.
Yeah.
And so you have to put new ones for them
not gonna last
to
forever.
spawn and do what they like to do. They love those brush piles.
Yeah, they love the brush piles, and that's a big thing for crappie fishermen to do, is to have brush piles. So here was a time where I thought, hey man, the government's actually doing something that's useful.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably costing us millions of dollars to do, even
But
though
the
they're donating
fish
trees.
won't like it. It's like when you get a tank and you can't just leave it empty for the fish. You got to put little plants in it. Even if they're fake, they like them.
They like the structure.
You know?
And so I thought that was pretty interesting. So I don't know if they do this in your area where you live, if they do this sort of thing, but I thought that was just a really cool thing to do.
It's got to be better than throwing them in some sort of a
landfill
dumpster or something.
Yeah. So
landfill.
it says, and this was also interesting. It says once the trees are sunk, the San Jacinto River Authority will share the locations on social media so people can use them. So they're not even going to be hiding the locations they sink these trees.
So we can follow.
Yeah. So you can go on their website there. You can see where they sunk the tree and go there. And now that people have got live scopes and stuff, I'm sure it'll be even easier for those freshwater guys to get out there and just absolutely have a sleigh fest. So anyway, and Charlie and Fool said they just got that pop-up ad skippable at 3 seconds. Okay, so...
Well, crappie are good to eat. They are not that exciting to catch, but kids like it.
Yeah, then they're good eating.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I thought that was just an example of something actually positive to end the stream on, having talked about people trapped on ice, which is pretty scary, and then talking about the speckled trout regulations once again.
Yes.
I thought this was a good thing to end the stream on for our first of the year. And like I said, hopefully we'll be able to do this each and every time. Each Thursday, 7 o'clock is our plan. No Way says the most important thing about that trout stocking schedule is to see how many fish they stock. One would stock 1,000 2 times, the other 100 at a time, 8 times. Limit out in 30 minutes at the 1,000. Okay, yeah, that is true. If you watched our most recent video, I think this is what No Way is referring to. If you watched or if you didn't, maybe you've seen that here in Texas they stock the rainbow trout.
Oh yeah,
in local lakes and ponds, and you do need to pay attention to the stocking schedules because they do stock them at specific times, and you want to probably get there within a reasonable amount of time after the stocking. But the other thing is those trout do not survive. So before people think you're doing something terrible, those trout will not survive the Texas heat. So do go out there and get them. But in that video, we were in College Station, and somebody didn't believe that rainbow trout were actually in the little concrete pond.
Well, that's because we were there the stocking day, and I did never see a truck come over. So I'm guessing that they did it the day before. So
or
I was just
dead of night.
And we didn't catch any that day, so I was like, maybe we got the day wrong, or they didn't stock them. And that was last year. Yeah. So I was thinking they were ghosting us.
And this was our first time in 3 efforts to actually get them.
Maybe it was the first time they stocked them.
Yeah, maybe.
We keep getting the day wrong or something. I mean, they post it, but what if somebody gets sick and they change it? I mean, do they keep to that? I was just like, who's checking up on it?
Who's checking? Nobody knows.
Because I was here all day and I saw nobody coming.
Look, if there's been a theme of the show, we have been talking about government and some things the government does really well and some of the things the government just doesn't do very well. Rescuing people, they at least got them off the ice, so that's good. Trout regulations and stocking schedules, maybe not so much. So... I don't know. That's just one. But we did get them. And you know what was surprising about the rainbow trout? How they tasted.
Well, not just how they tasted. How they was surprising to me was the color of the meat after they were filleted. Just because I've never had them, I didn't realize they were in the salmon family. So when they were all pink, I was like, oh, it's a very bloody fish. I'm so used to salt water. I was like, why isn't it
And then I was concerned they'd be really oily tasting and not good.
And then I thought, well, they taste like salmon, but they don't really.
No, they really didn't. They tasted very good. I really did. And they don't really fight a whole lot. You do, for me at least, I had to wait. I mean, it wasn't a very fast limit. But they were there.
They don't hit like a saltwater trout. Like a sea trout is pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
And
they don't hit that way, and they don't really fight because they're too small.
Yeah.
Although I was using ultralight tackle, which is always fun, just because it's ultralight tackle.
You got to feel something.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope for those of you that may not know, my weekend begins on Thursday night. So Thursday night is my Friday because I generally have Fridays and Saturdays off. I go back to work on Sundays. So this is the beginning of my weekend. So I hope that you guys have amazing plans for this weekend. I don't know what you got going on. For us here, unfortunately, it looks like it's going to rain. On Friday, it's supposed to pour down rain, so I don't think fishing this weekend is going to be in our plans. Saturday, I do hope to film a new piece on the 3-year feedback on our boat.
Oh, 3-year?
Yeah, we've had it for 3 years now. And I thought it'd be a good thing to say there's a 3-year perspective on the boat, and here's things we like, here's things we don't like, and that way it might help
people should do those
out.
about all their boats so that we know what boat
these
is
are things
good
we
for
like,
what.
these things we don't like. So we're going to do that. I hope to do that on Saturday if the weather's good and we can get out there and do that. But I hope you guys, what are your plans for the weekend? Let us know in the chat what your weekend plans are, because I know a lot of you live in different areas and maybe have some awesome plans to go out there and get some stuff done. Go out there and get some fishing done. Hunting season is still in a lot of places. So hopefully you've got some awesome plans. But whatever they are, we hope that you get out there and are able to do them, enjoy your family, enjoy the outdoors, go touch some grass. I know for a lot of us, we were stuck inside of buildings all day. I was just quoting Office Space because this is my first week back to not a full week, even it was a half week of work. And I was telling Karen that people weren't made to sit in cubicles. We were not made to sit in offices. So I hope that you can get out there and enjoy whatever outdoors out there. Stay off the ice if it's too thin. We've established that. Check your stocking schedule if you're looking for trout. There might be some in your area. If not, have an awesome weekend. And Grant, you made it at the very end. Much appreciated. No way, you got it. Yep. TPS reports, man. Yeah. TPS. I know. I was on the walk this morning. I was like, Karen. I was like, she was like, are you going into the office today? I was like, I just don't think I'm going to go anymore. And then,
what?
And,
should we also smash the copier?
Yeah. And then she was just like, well, what about, we were doing the whole bit, what about bills? And I was like, I just don't think I'm going to pay them. And, it doesn't work.
That works for about 3 months.
Yeah.
Then they come after you.
I'm fortunate I don't have to do TPS reports. That would be, and I don't have a lot of flair. That is true. Maybe we can get some more flair on. I do have We Go Fishing buttons somewhere. I know I've got them somewhere. I got some of those. So, in any case,
stickers.
Hope you guys have an amazing weekend. We'll catch you back here live next Thursday. If everything goes well and God wills it, we will see you, God willing, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll be doing these shows. We'll focus on different stories that are going on, different things that have happened. And, of course, whatever you guys put in the chat, we'd love to talk to you as well, because you're the reason why we do this, to spend some time and talk to you about things going on with the fishing world. So until next time.
May the fish be with you.
There we go. Take care.